Welcome to IDA Legal Issues, Foster Parents and Children and Homeless Children. Students in foster care and/or who are homeless face multiple issues. In the following video, some students talk about their experiences.
Sometimes when you feel like you don't have any control in your life, you have to get a hold of the very few dreams you do have and make sure you don't let them go.
I think the biggest challenge for me was the instability. It was really hard to stay grounded and to be able to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel.
It was rough, very rough, especially moving schools, getting bullied a lot, like having parents that weren't yours pick you up, like a lot of judgmental kids or a lot of kids ask questions.
School was really different because you weren't really labeled. You're just like a student, like everyone's a student, and I can do the best I could in school. At home, no matter what I did, I felt like I wasn't good enough or whatever I did wasn't right.
There were a few kids at school who knew my situation, and for the people who were really supportive of me, that was okay, because I had someone to confide in and someone who could show me empathy and really be there for me. But there were other people who knew my situation, and it felt like I was being bullied and that I was kind of being shamed for not having the same home life and things that a lot of kids at my school had.
I moved about like 5 different times for school between elementary and high school. To me, moving schools was like kind of scary because it's like a new environment, new kids, and then you got to make friends all over again. And like growing up, friends, they really are important in school. Like that's like the main part of going to school in elementary school. So it's pretty scary.
I think in a way they wanted me to reach some level of success, just not the maximum. I remember I was constantly being told, just take your GED. It's a lot easier for teen moms. It's what's convenient. It'll help you out for now. But in a way, I was what they called stubborn, because I insisted in being in high school and getting my high school diploma.
Actually, towards the end of my sophomore year, I was doing pretty good in school. As a new school, it was actually really hard compared to my other school. I was sent away to a different placement for like a month, and that definitely took a huge chunk out of my school, and it was 1 month of school is like 2 months of homework, and I thought I was going to fall back behind and have to repeat the 10th grade, and luckily I finished, but it was very like traumatic, I guess you could say.
I had an IUP. I was an IUP student, so it was really hard because some schools were really good with that IUP that I had. Some schools were very awful and didn't give me the attention that I needed. So that's what I hated, especially like special ed, they call it. You know, a lot of kids get teased for that. And I'm getting comfortable at one school with being special ed, and then I go to another school, and then I have to get bullied all over again because I'm a special ed student.
My biggest supports to get me through school were my academic advisors. They were really supportive, and they were really willing to listen and help me get the support and the things that I needed to make it through and graduate.
Towards the end of high school, I didn't know how I was going to do it. It just became so overwhelming. I remember telling a few of my teachers, I just don't know. I don't have enough time. I'm going to be like the oldest one there. And when the time got close and I would be at school from 8 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning until 8 or 9 p.m., sometimes I was just me and the people cleaning there.
I had a lot of support, so I didn't do this all alone. My teachers, my friends, my caseworkers, my GALs, my brother, teammates, like little things here and there. definitely, they were my stepping stones to college. So
What I graduated from is an ROP. It's a program, so I had a lot of support in there that really pushed me to meet my goal. I actually graduated with the 4.0, and I never thought I could do that.
I don't believe it yet that I'm a college graduate, but it's really great because I never ever thought that I would be here. I didn't think I would make it this far, and to be able to say that I graduated from a university is very surreal.
Walking across the stage and just seeing everybody and flashlights going, and it just made me feel very important. It made me feel like I did it. Something I worked so hard for. I finally did it, you know. And I knew it was just the beginning.
education's probably the most important thing for anyone, really. Like, not even just a foster kid, but since we don't have anything steady to grasp on, that's like their way out.
No matter how hard school is and how overwhelming it is and how daunting and pointless it feels, keep going because it's worth it. Not only because you get to say that you have a degree, but because you get to feed a part of you that you didn't really know was there.
Definitely I want them to be something in life. I want to be something in life, and when I see my kids being something in life and when I see myself successful, I will understand that my goal is accomplished, and it'll just open up the door for bigger plans.
You're already successful, by the way.
Thank you.
You know that.
Thank you.
This presentation focuses on the above statutory laws that apply to these highly mobile students. In the United States today, approximately 400,000 children are in foster care at any given time. On 23, 2016, the United States Department of Education and the United States Department of Health and Human Services released joint guidance to states, school districts, and child welfare agencies on the new provisions in the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, for ESSA requires local education agencies to work with child welfare agencies. ESSA requires that students remain in the school of origin unless it is not in their best interest. School of origin is the school in which the child is enrolled at the time of placement in foster care. However, this can change with successive foster placements. Best interest is a legal standard used throughout the law concerning decisions regarding all children protected by or involved in legal proceedings. For IDEA or Section 504 students, the relevant staff members should participate in the best interest process. ESSA requires SEAs to ensure that when determined that school of origin is not in the child's best interest, the child is immediately enrolled in a new school. This is true even if the child does not have the records normally required to enroll. ESSA requires LEAs to collaborate with state and tribal child welfare agencies. This includes tailoring procedures to meet local requirements such as record sharing, decision-making criteria, and regular meetings. ESSA educational stability provisions apply to preschool children in foster care if the LEA offers preschool. Stability is the guiding framework. Best interest, SEAs and LEEs must ensure immediate enrollment in a new school if the student does not have even the regular records to enroll. SEAs and LEAs records and enrollment policies must support this requirement. The immediate enrollment requirement means that it cannot be delayed due to a records issue. Intrastate transfer has a special situation where if a child with a disability who had an IEP transfers to a new LEA in the same state, the new LEA, in consultation with parents, must provide FAPE, including services comparable to those in the student's IEP, from the previous LEA until the new LEA either adopts the old IEP or develops a new IEP. For interstate transfer, If a child who had an IEP in another state transfers to an LEA in a new state within the same school year, the new LEA, in consultation with the parents, must provide FAPE, including services comparable to those in the student's IEP from the previous LEA, until the new LEA conducts an evaluation if needed and develops a new IEP. The Fostering Connections Act requires child welfare agencies to ensure children in foster care who change schools are promptly enrolled in a new school with relevant school records. The main provisions addressed are moving more children out of foster care and into a safe permanent home with relatives or adoptive families. The Uninterrupted Scholars Act, under 20 U.S.C. Section 1232, its purpose is to improve education and developmental outcomes for children in foster care by providing access of records to relevant agencies. The following video provides an overview regarding homeless youth in public education.
Research has shown that homeless children face a range of challenges to their health, emotional well-being, and safety, and that these challenges can affect their experiences in school. A new analysis in the Condition of Education report explores the latest data on student homelessness in U.S. public schools. The report uses data from the Department of Education's EdFacts collection to describe rates of student homelessness and how they vary across the country. The analysis also describes the characteristics of the homeless student population. During the 2014-15 school year, 2.5% of U.S. public school students were identified as homeless, meaning that they lacked a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. 76% of homeless students were doubled up or sharing housing due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or other reasons such as domestic violence. 7% were living in hotels or motels, and 14% were living in shelters, transitional housing, or awaiting foster care placement. 3% were unsheltered, for example, those living in cars, parks, and abandoned buildings. 8% of homeless children were also categorized as unaccompanied youth, meaning that they were not in the physical custody of a parent or guardian. This group includes runaway youth, youth who have been separated from their family due to conflict or loss of contact, and youth living with a caretaker who is not their legal guardian. 14% of homeless students were identified as English language learners. By comparison, 9% of all public school students were English language learners. A higher percentage of homeless students are students with disabilities, 17%, compared to 13% of all public school students. In 2014-15, the rate of student homelessness was highest in city districts compared to town, rural, and suburban districts. The rates of homelessness were lowest in the suburbs, yet these districts enrolled 422,000 homeless students. 578,000 homeless students were enrolled in city districts, while smaller numbers were enrolled in rural and town districts. These data show that student homelessness is a challenge for communities across the country. You can learn more about homelessness in U.S. public schools by visiting nces.ed.gov to read the full report and explore data for your state or school district.
The main statutory basis regarding homeless students is the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. It depends on state laws and regulations. The LEA of School of Origin is usually responsible. OSERS guidance letter focuses on the commitment to providing an education of these students. Finally, we can build capacity to collect and use data to support better outcomes for these diverse and vulnerable groups of students in the special education process. Thank you.